All right. Hey, students, it's Kristen with Junior Achievement, and we are so lucky today to talk to Lawrence Tam. I'm just going to let him start and introduce himself. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Tam.
Hi, my name is Lawrence Tam. I grew up in Reno, Nevada. My dad was actually in the Army, so I grew up on an Army base in California. But then when I was 13, we moved to Reno. It was a sad time at that time. My parents got divorced. My mom separated from the picture itself. My dad, he was a great provider, wasn't the greatest father. It wasn't always there for me. So it really created this independent mentality in my life. So I grew up being very curious in things, trying to learn as much as possible. Got really involved with sports because I like that little organizational feel, the family feel, the coaches being like father figures. So I got really involved with sports in high school. I wrestled, I ran track, I played football, I played soccer. I played as many sports as possible. And then when I graduated from Worcester High School, I ended up not knowing exactly what I wanted to do. So then I ended up joining the Nevada Air Guard. So it's the military that's there at the airport 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year, and it helped pay for college. So then I started out at TMCC. I was started at a community college. And then I worked my way up to UNR, and then I got a job with Microsoft, and now I work for Amazon. I work in supply chain management. It's how you get products from point A to point B and then eventually to the end customers itself. As you guys may know, because of this pandemic, Amazon business has really taken off because people want to order more online. We also have Prime Video, which is people watching more on TV. And then part of our Amazon Web Services, we house Netflix. So that's really taking off too. So it's like a lot of different components of Amazon are really taking off. It's really catering to this the need that the pandemic has pushed out. I guess within my career itself, Amazon's been very great for me. I worked in Europe for a couple of years. They sent me over there, and as Amazon expands across the globe, when I was at the military, I was in Germany for a little while. They sent me to Antarctica. I was working at McMurdo Station in Antarctica for 90 days of doing supply chain. And then right after that, they sent me to Iraq. It was during Iraqi freedom. So I was on the front line of Iraq trying to do supply chain at the airport. As airplanes came in, fighter jets came in, need maintenance, they need certain parts. I had to go source different parts from around the globe to get it to Iraq so they can fix the jets and get them off and running again. So I have a lot of experiences in a lot of different places.
You do. We'll come back to all those because I have a lot of questions about your high school experiences, your travel, your military experience. But you didn't mention, and I don't know if you're planning to later, a big award that you just received this year. Do you want to share that with us?
Yes. So last last year, I was put on a project for the Amazon Go business, where is what I do now. And if you're not familiar with Amazon Go, they're the cashier-less stores. So people go in, they scan their app, they take what they want, and they just walk out. They don't have to check out. The technology knows what people have taken, what they put back, what they're walking out with. And speaking of the pandemic, people like this because they don't have to wait in line and they don't have to wait with cashiers exchanging money or cards. So they just walk in, grab what they want, walk out super quick. But we had a supply chain project where we couldn't, it was tough for our vendors that were supplying the store to reach all of our stores and make the deliveries before store opening. So I was given the challenge of like, how do I solve this? So I figured out how to solve it and the transportation with the truck and how it arrives and how we do a small cross-dock. I know I'm throwing out a lot of big terms, but it ended up reducing our transportation to stores by 81%. This is huge savings. This got on Jeff Bezos's radar because of the sustainability effort. Like we're trying to be more sustainable company. So when he found out about this, he gave me an award. It's only given out twice a year, and only less than 20 people have got it throughout the extent of Amazon, 20 plus years. So it was a huge award last year. I got to meet Jeff Bezos. He gave me the award on stage at our company all hands. It was huge.
Congratulations again. So we're going to go back to your kind of growing up and how it got you to where you are first. So I know some things that I picked up were 1, sports, 2, the importance of mentors in your life, and 3, how you ended up in college. And I know that was military and sports combined. So do you want to start maybe first And I know we're not all athletes like me. I'm not. So if we get involved in whatever we get involved in, how do you think that that helped you get to where you are today?
Sports was super critical in where I am today. And it's one of those things is when I try to connect the dots, because I didn't know it at the time, but when you have coaches and mentors, I'll go into a little bit of that, they push you to become the best. And if you're ever going to do anything, why not become the best? And I was thinking about this a little bit before this call though, too. And it's like, it's okay to start something new and not like it, but give it a chance, because you don't like it because you're not good, but you're not good because you don't have practice. So it starts at square one. It's like, keep doing it until you're good at it, and then give it a chance. If you don't like it, then you can find something new, which is okay to start over. But having that mentality to go ahead and give it a try and become good at something, that carried over to my work life, obviously. So I was, when I played sports at Worcester High School, I was blessed to be under Coach Sellers on the football team, where we were winning state titles at that time. And then Coach Tom Bailey and Eric Bai on the wrestling team, where we were winning state titles again. And then they always said, they always instilled like the work ethic. You got to compete. You got to do more than your competitors are. So that work ethic was just ingrained in me. And then even after that, that mentality I carried to college, and I started boxing. I never boxed a day in my life before I entered UNR. And then I ended up winning 3 national titles for UNR at that time, having not ever played in the sport before. So carrying that mentality. And then I didn't connect the dots at that time, but I had a great coach, Coach Greg Rice, who told me, he's like, hey, you don't need boxing anymore because it is a dangerous sport, and there are mental illnesses that happen from concussions and stuff like that. But he's like, you don't need boxing anymore. You carry that same work ethic to the classroom. Like, if that person's getting an A and you're getting a B, why can't you get an A? Like, do that. Be competitive in the classroom too. So I carried that work ethic to the classroom, and I really exceeded. So whenever I was in the class, I was like, if someone's getting an A, I can get an A. So it helped my GPA, got me to where I am. When I'm competing for the internship, right when I got out of college, I was competing against 5 other people, and I tried to do as much as possible to get many things on my resume as possible to be able to compete. And then I got the internship at Intuit at that time, and then it eventually led to a job at Microsoft. And then after Microsoft, getting some years at Microsoft, Amazon came looking, and then I competed for a job at Amazon, and I got the job at Amazon, and here I am 6 years later, a kid who started at a community college in Reno, Nevada, TMCC. That's where it all started. So, I mean, if I can do it, any one of you guys can do it too. It's possible. You just got to work hard and carry that work ethic. Make sure that if you do something, you want to become the best. Just because you're not good at it now doesn't mean you're going to not be good at it forever. You need to work at it. You need to become good at it.
Very true. Did you think this is where you were going to be when you were in high school? Or what did you understand at that time?
Yeah, absolutely not. I did not know where I was going to go. I didn't even know I was going to go to college after high school. All I wanted to do was play sports. That's all I thought I was good at. That's all the value I thought I was going to contribute to anything was a sports team. So what ended up happening is, luckily at that time, I had some good friends that were encouraging me. They're going to college. I didn't want to feel left out. So I ended up going to college because they went to college. And that filled us some time. And then slowly that mentality of sports, I was carrying that on to the boxing team. And then at that time, my friends are still going to classes. So I'm going to classes. I'm trying to figure out what I want to major in. I didn't know at that time either. So I was like, all right, I'll do generic business for now. Just get a general business major. But then luckily, just taking the breadth of classes, different accounting classes, statistics, finance, computer classes. And then I took a supply chain class, and I was like, this is really cool. Like, I like the scheduling piece of supply chain. If you guys don't know about supply chain, it's all about schedule, timeliness. Parts are manufactured in China. They need to be done by X date so they can get on a ship and cruise over to the US by X amount of weeks before they go to the fulfillment center, and then it goes from the fulfillment center to the end customer. So when you work backwards, all that timing has to be perfect for then to get to the customers, especially when it's a new product launch, like maybe the PS5 coming out. To hit that launch date, everything needs to be perfect in timing. And I really, really like that. I really love when I can look back at a supply chain and everything works out perfectly. Of course, it doesn't always happen like that. And then this is part of the value of the job I'm doing. Like, how do I fix it? How do I make sure that things stay on track? If something happens, there's an emergency happens or a pandemic happens and a factory shuts down, how do I make sure that they get up and running, or they have what they need, or where can I move the manufacturing? How do we get the parts in time? Because customers are not going to be happy if we can't launch on time. So these are the things I deal with.
So that kind of answered my next question. I know right now things are so different, but in your life before coronavirus, what was like a typical day like? I know you, and that's personal and professional, because we like to hear that you're still able to play with your dog or go to dinner with your family and friends. So just run us through a typical day.
Before coronavirus, obviously I would go to the office, which isn't too far away. I would probably be in the office at like 6 a.m. I was in the office very early, and that's because we have people all over the world, and sometimes I need to get on early calls. And then usually I wouldn't leave until 4, 5, 6, sometimes late at night though too. And then I would come home, eat, sleep, go back to work. And usually at the office, it's a lot of meetings that are going on. I know a lot of people talk about work-life balance and how do you get work-life balance, because that doesn't sound good. However, I just want to point out one thing though, is like, I think work gets this negative connotation. People associate work as a bad thing, like you shouldn't have to work. But when you finally get to a place, which I think I'm blessed enough to feel like I got to a place where I actually enjoy work. Like it's a challenge. I like doing it. So it's not that big of a deal to me. Like it's not a bad thing that I work all those hours. It's actually good because I enjoy it. It's kind of like a hobby. I look at it. So before coronavirus and the pandemic, I would go to the office and do that. But now I'm doing it from home, which is good. It has its pros and cons. I don't get to interact with as many people in the office as I would like to. Part of the enjoyment of going to the office was like these hallway conversations. You catch up with friends or colleagues you haven't seen in a while. You're walking by and it's like, hey, how's the wife and kids? How's the dog doing? You know, you're catching up on things like that, which I obviously can't do now that I work from home. But the other good thing is like when I have the meetings at work or work from home now, it's like it's more focused. When I have these meetings with people, like we know what we need to get accomplished. It's more focused. So those are some pros. We get a lot more accomplished at this time. Obviously, with the pandemic, Amazon business has gone up. So it creates more meetings, more activities that need to be executed on. So those kind of things have picked up, but it's not too bad. I have my dog here. I'll introduce my dog real quick. Oh, Ash. This is Ash. This is another benefit of working from home. Like after this meeting, I can go take her down to the street to the park. She enjoys the time that I get to spend with her, and I get to look down once in a while during a tough meeting and know that there's more things in life than work too. So that's a good thing. After work, I usually me and my girlfriend are trying to restore an old house. So we're doing little things like that. We're painting, we're learning how to do electrical, we're learning how to do plumbing. There's little things like that we're trying to restore on the off hours. But that's been good too, because I get to spend a lot of time with her.
So you answered a little bit about this, but how has your life changed with coronavirus? I guess you work from home now.
Yeah.
You're probably not going out a lot for dinner and.
No, we're actually cooking a lot. One of the things that I used to do a lot before coronavirus was eating out a lot, and it was people say it's unhealthy, but there are healthy choices. I'll argue that side too. But at the end of the day, it's like it became second nature to go eat out. It was one of the things I forgot about. Like, oh, I can go home and cook. But now we're cooking a lot more at home, and we're enjoying it. I'm rediscovering that enjoyability of cooking and homemade food and leftovers and the convenience of that piece. So that's been good. Obviously, we're saving a lot more money that way too. So that's nice. But there's things like that. I don't get out and about and like meeting friends out, which is kind of sad. So we're doing a lot more FaceTime, Zoom calls, trying to catch up with people that way. It's obviously a little different, but it's been good. Yeah, we tried to deal with it. What was that?
Did you pick up any new hobbies?
Just restoring the house. That's it. Okay. That's the only hobby I have now.
Full time.
Yeah. So I'm learning how to paint. Like obviously people know how to paint a room, but when you spend some time on YouTube and learn how the experts do it, they teach you all the tips and tricks on how to paint, how to not let the paint bleed between the tape and little things like that. So it's a lot of home restoration stuff right now.
Perfect. Do you have any advice for our Nevada students on how they could prepare financially for any crisis? I know right now the one that we're all thinking of is coronavirus, but just prepare financially for something like this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great time to reprioritize your expenses. Like, what are you spending your money on? Let's take a step back and figuring out where the value is you're getting for what you're paying. Like, are there cheaper options? For example, I think everyone should be saving money because they're eating out less, just cooking. And when I used to think about cooking like a single meal at a time, but now we're doing meal prep. So for the week, we'll cook one big meal and then we'll have leftovers for the week. It may not sound that great, but it turns out like you add a little hot sauce or mix things stuff together, you can be very creative about your meals. I think this is huge about savings. Some of the things that you can look at is like, do you need all these subscription video services? Do you need HBO? Do you need Netflix? Do you need Hulu? Like maybe just one of them's okay and you can drop some others until it gets a little bit better. Just reprioritizing your expenses overall. There's other things you can look at too. Like what's really helpful for me, especially before I went to college, was joining the Nevada Air Guard. That was just a 1 weekend a month, 2 week a year commitment. So you can do it on the side. And then it helped pay for college too. And it was a paycheck for that weekend that I worked out. So it's just extra income. How do you get this extra income? How do you figure out where to go get a job? I know you guys may be struggling. Maybe you were laid off, unfortunately, but there's other things like the Air Guard that, although there is a commitment of X amount of years, but it is a stable job. So it will be there. They won't fire you. So it's one of those things that are like, let's say, job. It doesn't. There's no risk to it. You're not going to get fired from it.
And I know you mentioned earlier, just touching on the Air Guard, I don't know if everyone picked up, it also took you to see the world. I know that you've gone to Europe with your Amazon job, but with the Air Guard, that's how you were in Antarctica, correct?
Yes.
And Germany.
Yes.
Iraq.
Yeah. So a couple of those things is like, I didn't expect to go to Antarctica. Antarctica is like one of those places that not a lot of people get to go to begin with. The only way you can get down to McMurdo Station is a U.S. military plane. It's called a Skier 130. So it's this ski propeller plane with skis on it that lands on the ice. Obviously, it's going to cost a lot of money if you want to charter one of those out. However, I was down there because we were shuttling the National Science Foundation back and forth because they're doing research down there on, let's say, global warming or how fish survive under such frozen temperatures. But because of my skills that I was able to gain working supply chain in remote locations, they thought I was a good candidate to go down there. So it was a great opportunity. I spent 90 days down there. Probably one of the places I would love to go back if I had the opportunity to. Just untouched beauty, like it just landscape out there, untouched snow on mountains, and it was just gorgeous. Cold, but gorgeous. And then right after that, I got a chance to go to Iraq. Iraq was an experience in itself. It's one of those things where you get taken out of your comfort zone and you're in a war zone at that time. And, you know, you take for granted, people take for granted today, like all the freedoms that we have. I remember being in Iraq and going into the store and trying to find toothpaste, and there's one brand of toothpaste. Here, you go into a Walmart or a Target, you have a vast selection of toothpaste. Like, it was just like going shopping for a camping trip. It's like, I only have one toothbrush, one toothpaste. I don't have the luxury to select the teeth whitening toothpaste or whatever other. It's little things like that you take for granted. But when you come back, it's like you appreciate these things. You appreciate the freedoms that we do have. A lot of people complain about like our freedoms are getting taken away, but when you look at the grand scheme of things, we have a lot more freedom than a lot of other countries have. So we are doing good in that term. And you know, there's nothing says it more than being taken out of your comfort zone, living in that a little while, and then coming back to it. I feel blessed.
And that you reminded me of something you've always kind of pushed, and that is not something I'm really great at, and that's getting out of your comfort zone. So I'm glad that you reminded us of that, and that'll probably go into our final question. And it doesn't have to be career oriented or financial, but do you have any words of wisdom to share with our Northern Nevada students?
Yeah, then it's absolutely. I have a few things, but let me talk about comfort zone for a minute. Like when someone is uncomfortable, here's my opinion. When someone is uncomfortable, it's because they don't know a lot about whatever they're facing, whatever they're trying to learn. When you're given a job and you don't know how to do it, that makes you uncomfortable. However, how do you get over that? You learn more about it. You do research. One of the best things a mentor told me very early on is learn how to learn. I know that sounds very basic, but learn how to learn. Like there's so many ways to learn. Like there's Google, there's the internet now. When I was in high school, there was not the internet. So, but now you can Google something and almost learn anything. You can go on YouTube. There's so many tutorials out there. Everyone has an opinion on how to teach something. I was just telling you guys, like I'm restoring a house right now. It's like, how do you paint? Like I thought I knew how to paint, but when I'm watching these experts paint, they're doing things that I didn't even know about. And now I feel like I'm an expert. I just installed a garage door this past weekend. It's something that I never thought I would be able to do. But I found someone willing to teach me how to do it, and we did it together. We busted out in a day and a half, and it looks great. And it's like, learn how to learn. And then when I think about installing a garage door, it's like, oh, that's easy peasy. That wasn't my mentality a couple of weeks ago, though. But like, being uncomfortable is not a bad thing. Like, go ahead and learn how to learn and get over that uncomfortability. That's probably one of the biggest pieces of advice I have. The other thing is don't be afraid or don't be discouraged at things you're not good at. And we touched a little bit about it earlier on. It's like when you're not good at something, don't just give up on it. People need to practice to become good at something. When you think about like LeBron James or Michael Jordan, they still practice today. They still practice every day. It's not like they just show up to the basketball court and they're just making hoops. You talk about Steph Curry. Whenever you watch any of these sports documentaries on any of these great athletes, one of the things that resonates, people say how hard they practice. Like, I've never seen someone practice as hard as they do. That's because they know that they need to practice to become good at something. So when you don't like something because it's a lot of work, there's a reason it's a lot of work, because if it was easy, then everyone would do it. So if it's hard, then you know that you're on the right track and get over that. So, and then to become the best, you keep practicing and get good at something. That's not just in sports, but that's in work too. So when I show up to the office at 6 a.m., I know that I'm getting up early because I need to roll up my sleeves and do a little bit of extra work to be the best I can. It's not a bad thing. I enjoy what I do. So yeah, that's probably the best piece of advice that I've gotten is like, put in the work. Be okay. Like, what makes you different from someone else? And that's okay. It's like, if it's hard, then you know you're on the right track. You're going to learn. The other thing is like, learn a breadth of skills. You're not going to like hit the jackpot and like find that skill that you're going to be great at and then find a career in that. Learn a breadth of skills. This way you have a backup plan in case something falls through. For example, I don't know, maybe I get fired from Amazon. But then I can go restore houses. I can go paint. I can go do electrical work. I'm learning these other skills that are very transferable, right? So go learn. Like, take this free time if you do. There's so many opportunities online today, classes, and then to learn about different things. The other thing I think that would be super valuable is like when you focus less on yourself and then go out and volunteer. I know there's probably not a ton of volunteering activities out there right now, but you meet so many different people. This is another way to learn. Maybe you're going to go volunteer at the food bank and someone is an electrician and it's like, oh, I want to learn about that. So then maybe they take you along and to their jobs and you can see what they're doing and learn about those things. These career sessions, I think these career sessions Kristen's holding is excellent because then you're getting a little bit of exposure about what other people are doing and then you can learn about it. And then this is like that first step. So maybe after we get off of this and you're done watching me, you're going on Google and you're Googling supply chain and figuring out like how it works, what is involved. And then I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone that's more interested in the field itself. But doing that extra step, because if it was easy, then everyone would be a supply chain expert. But you need to do that research to get over those little steps and then get a breadth of skills. Learn from a lot of different people. I would say that's probably good.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for talking to us, Tam, and I'll talk to you later.
Bye.